The other thing I want to talk about is auction duration. So on eBay, you can set the duration of how long that auction is going to be out there from 1 day to 3 days to 5 days, 7 days, or 10 days. And the reason that there are different durations here really depends on the type of product that you're listing. Now, the most common auction duration is 7 days, 1 week. So if I were to list something on a Monday, it's going to end next Monday. But what this allows you to do is accelerate some things so that you're not waiting. And then you can also time some things. But what I want to point out here is that let's say you want to use a 1 day auction. What these are really reserved for are things that are really popular, things that are thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people are looking for. And I would say if you're selling an iPhone, this is something that you could probably list on eBay in a 1 day auction because there are people just scouring eBay for them, right? There's a ton of market out there for them. And so the prices tend to be pretty predictable because we know how many people are buying them and you've got thousands of people searching for them all the time. Now, why we have longer duration auctions and the longer ones like the 3, 5, or 7 days, the very common ones, is because there are usually a lot of people looking for items, but they don't necessarily need them right now. They're not urgent, and maybe there aren't as many as some of the really popular products. If you're selling a coffee maker, maybe you've got a new Mr. Coffee that you want to sell. I would probably put that on a 7 day auction because I may want a coffee maker, but there's probably going to be fewer people that want coffee makers than want iPhones. And I just might not be looking today. I might be waiting until the weekend to find it. So you want to give people a chance. You don't want to necessarily put that on a 1 day auction because the audience for that, the market for it, just might not be on eBay on that particular day. So that's where the 5 day and the 7 day auctions really are best. Now, 10 day auctions are pretty long, a week and a half, and I call these niche items. So in this case, I found this one. It's a vintage gold Snoopy watch, very rare. And because it's rare, it probably has a pretty slim market. There probably are not as many people looking for this particular item as there are for iPhones. And so what you want to do here is put it out on eBay for probably as long as possible so that the people that are looking for it, the people that think about it or searching for it or browsing, have a chance to find it, add it to their watch list, and follow that auction. But if I were to put this up on a 1 day auction, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe no one bids on it. But if I put it on a 10 day auction, I feel like that's going to give you a better chance, especially on these rare or niche items, that you're going to find the audience that you're looking for. So that's how you want to use the duration. Popular products, you can make them shorter. Niche products, rare products, quirky products, you want to use the longer auction durations. Okay. Now, I also want to talk about end days. So when do these auctions end? When am I going to schedule them so that the end date when that auction completes is on a specific day? And now here I've got this horse calendar up here and a couple tips, and I think that they might sound pretty obvious, but here are the strategies I use is that you don't want your auction to end on a holiday like the 4th of July or Christmas morning or New Year's morning, those types of things, right? Because holidays, even though people aren't at work, they tend to be distracted with other things, right? Getting together with family, sleeping in, maybe traveling, whatever it is. And so just avoiding all holidays, whether it's Rosh Hashanah or Columbus Day or whatever, it just makes it a little easier. You can take some of those questions out of it. The other thing that I have a theory on is that most people get paid on a Friday. Now, we don't know which Friday, sometimes it's every other Friday, but most people get paid biweekly. And so they get paid on a Friday. So what I have found best for me is to have my auctions end on a Thursday evening. And that's because sometimes people don't have the money in their account or even in their bank account to buy from you on that Thursday, but they're going to get paid the next day so that they can wait till the following day to make that payment. Now, if I were to have an auction end on Monday and it was something someone wanted, but they weren't getting paid until Friday and didn't have those funds until Friday, what they're not going to be able to do is fulfill and complete that transaction within the required time allotment. If you have an auction that ends on Monday and I'm trying to buy myself time for Friday and you email me and say, hey, where's my payment on Tuesday and on Wednesday and on Thursday, that actually has a 3 or 4 day completion window. And if it doesn't happen, what you can do is actually cancel the auction. So what you don't want to end up having to do is just wait on people. And sometimes I've had that where people said, listen, I get paid Friday. Can you just wait and I'll send you the payment? And then we will make sure that happens. But if I have an auction complete on Thursday, I usually find that just kind of brings in people so that they're comfortable knowing that they can make that payment on Friday. So just one of my strategies here, not something you have to abide by, but it's one of my theories that's worked out pretty well for me. Now, I also want to talk about end time. So we talked about end days, but end time. So when during the day do you want your auction to end? And here's my big tip. Don't have your auction end during working hours. And the reason here is that most people are working and we don't have a chance to log into eBay or jump on our phones. You're distracted with work. You should be focused on work in many cases. So what I try to do is have my auctions end in the evening after work hours. Now I don't want them at 3 in the morning, but I do want them after work hours so that people can end work, usually get home, have their phone, have their computer available. They know that there's an auction that they're interested in and that's ending so that they're able to do it. And so here in Chicago, I usually pick about 8 p.m. as the end time. Now, you might be saying, why so late in Chicago? And the reason is because in Los Angeles and Pacific time, it's actually 6 p.m. And so that's the end of the day for most people, or maybe a little after, it gives them a little time to commute back home. And so what I want to do is give people in the West Coast Mountain Time as well as the East Coast a chance to participate in my auction. If I were to set my auction time to end at 6 p.m. in Chicago, what I've effectively done is I've removed half of the country from being a participant in my auction. So in order to give myself the most chance of getting the buyer I want and the price I want to have all four of the main time zones available and engaged with my auction. So don't let your auction end during the workday or during working hours, and also be aware of when the end of the workday is on all the time zones. Now, I will say if you are buying, here's another little tip. You might want to watch some of the auctions that end during the workday, assuming that you have the flexibility to watch them, because there are usually fewer people bidding on those. So you might be able to snag some deals. All right. So you might be saying, that's all well and good, Pete, but what I can't do is just be on my computer at 8 o'clock and list all my stuff. So how do I do this? eBay is nice. They figured out that if you want things to end at a certain time, you should be allowed to schedule them at a certain time. So when you're filling out the form to list stuff, what they have here is two options. You can either start my listings when I submit them, which I almost never use anymore because sometimes I'm doing it on the weekends in the morning, but I want those auctions to end in the evening. The other option here is schedule to start on, and you can set the day when you want your auction to start and the time you want your auction to start. Because now if I pick a 7-day auction, it's going to end on the same day and the same time the following week. And so now if I set it up for Monday at 8 p.m., it's going to end next Monday at 8 p.m. So it's a really easy way to go ahead and configure and list all your items and have them start and end exactly when you want. So use the scheduling feature in eBay when you can. Now, the fourth thing here, I want to talk to you about the power of really good pictures.